When you look at this, it seems like the start of a perfect vacation, right? But in the 2020 thriller Outback, this beautiful, wide open landscape is hiding a seriously brutal reality. We're going to dive into how a trip into the massive Australian wilderness just completely spirals into an absolute nightmare. So let me ask you this. How much do you really trust your GPS? I mean, we all use it every day. Outback digs into this terrifying question by showing us what happens when that piece of technology we rely on to guide us just completely, totally betrays us. It's a scary thought, where one simple wrong turn suddenly becomes a desperate fight for your life. All right, so let's meet our main characters, Wade and Lisa. They're an American couple on what's supposed to be a romantic getaway to Australia. But here's the thing, there's already this really serious tension simmering right under the surface. Just before the trip, Wade actually proposed, and Lisa turned him down. So yeah, their relationship is on some very shaky ground. And this slide, this really gets to the core of their whole problem. You've got Wade, who's the planner. He's meticulous, he's all about safety first. And then you have Lisa, who's just chasing that sense of adventure. She's spontaneous, totally willing to take risks. It's actually Lisa who talks Wade into ditching his carefully laid out plans for this wild, 32-hour detour to some remote spot she saw. And that one decision, that's where everything starts to go wrong. So, off they go, deep into the outback. We're talking no cell signal, nothing. They are completely and totally dependent on their car's GPS. They think it's guiding them to this amazing adventurous spot. But what they have no idea about is that they're driving straight into a trap, one set by their very own technology. Their dive into total chaos, it doesn't happen all at once. It's more like a series of terrible steps. First, the GPS suggests a shortcut, of course, right? This takes them onto a desolate, unpaved road. Then it just starts rerouting like crazy, getting more and more erratic, leading them deeper and deeper into the middle of nowhere until, bam, dead end. They are completely and utterly lost. And in this moment of just sheer panic, they make a fateful decision. Leave the car and start walking towards a ridge, hoping, praying they'll spot a town or road. But by the time they realize it's hopeless, night has fallen. In the dark, the landscape looks the same in every direction, and they can't find their way back to the car. And just like that, their situation goes from really, really bad to absolutely critical. Okay, so this is where the film really shifts gears. It's no longer a road trip gone wrong. This is a brutal, unforgiving fight for survival. The Outback is a harsh environment, and believe me, they are completely unprepared for what it's about to throw at them. 3 days! Just let that sink in for a second. In the scorching, relentless heat of the desert, they go 3 full days without a single drop of water. The dehydration is just crippling, pushing their bodies and their minds to the absolute breaking point. And it's not just the thirst, not by a long shot. They are surrounded by constant threats. Wade is already suffering from this horrible infection in his leg from a jellyfish sting he got earlier, which makes it painful to even walk. And then, as if things couldn't get worse, in the middle of the night, Lisa gets stung by a scorpion and just falls unconscious. Their whole ordeal is just this rapid, terrifying downward spiral. On day 1, they're lost and already out of water. By day 2, Lisa is unconscious from the scorpion sting, but Wade, bless him, manages to build this giant SOS sign out of rocks. By day 3, he's so desperate to find the car that he leaves her behind, and they get separated. So at this point, the story really zeroes in on Wade. With Lisa unconscious and basically near death, he knows that any hope they have of surviving rests entirely on him. And what he does next is one of the most selfless and just harrowing acts of sacrifice you can imagine. After this grueling search, he finally makes it back to the road, and he finds the car. I mean, you can imagine the relief, right? It's this incredible glimmer of hope, but that hope is just immediately brutally crushed. In his panic when they first left, he'd forgotten to turn off the headlights. The battery is completely dead. The car is useless. And this is the moment of Wade's absolutely devastating choice. He finds this contaminated water in the car's engine. He knows it's poison. But he also knows that if he drinks it, his body can process it into urine, a toxic but hydrating liquid that could, maybe, save Lisa's life, even if it ends up costing him his own. So he collects the urine in a bottle, and following a trail of sticks that he left behind, he finds Lisa. He gets her to drink the liquid, begging her to survive, to just keep going. And with that final act of love complete, the poison takes over. Wade dies, right there in her arms. But Wade's sacrifice, it wasn't for nothing. It gives Lisa the physical strength and, honestly, the emotional strength she needs to make one last, final push for her own survival. Following that same trail of sticks, Lisa stumbles all the way back to the car. But of course, the ordeal isn't over yet. She opens the car door only to find one of Australia's most venomous snakes coiled up inside. And in this moment of just pure exhaustion and acceptance, she sits perfectly still until it just slithers away. Then she finds the engagement ring and she finally puts it on. So what's the final outcome here? Well, Wade's official cause of death is kidney failure from the poison he drank. But Lisa, she's eventually rescued by a park ranger who is alerted by that very same SOS sign Wade had built. She survives, and in what feels like a final tribute to his sacrifice, she ends up enrolling in nursing school. Okay, so the whole film opens with the claim that it's based on true events. But you have to wonder, right? How true is it really? Let's break that down. The reality here is that Wade and Lisa are probably fictional characters. Their story isn't a direct retelling of one specific event. It's more of a powerful composite, inspired by tons of real-life news stories about tourists who have tragically gotten lost and died in the Australian outback over the years. And really, that leaves us with this final thought. Outback might be a fictional story, but the danger it portrays is incredibly, terrifyingly real. It's this stark reminder of the raw power of nature and that thin, thin line between adventure and tragedy. So I'll just leave you with this question. In a story about survival, does it really matter if the names are real, as long as the danger is?